Cartoon Network saved my life. Now, I know that might sound like a bit of an exaggeration, but hear me out.
Ooh! I love Cartoon Network!
Oh my gosh, I love all of these shows. I love Cartoon Network.
The first question I want to ask is, why do we love cartoons so much? Why do you love cartoons so much? Is it because their whimsical and fantastical premises provide a well-needed break from reality? Is it because animation still offers a level of visual expression and dynamism that live action still can't seem to capture? Or is it simply because they're fun? Probably an amalgamation of all three, and even more reasons. But for me personally, there's one quintessential thing about cartoons that is the sole reason why my love for them will never fade, even if I eventually stop watching them as much as I do now. And I'll explain what that is later in the video. But first of all, let's understand how cartoons saved my life and how they can save yours too, if you let them. See, most people associate cartoons with positive memories because a lot of us are initially exposed to cartoons during early childhood, a time when the brain is highly malleable and still forming emotional associations. During childhood, the amygdala, which is the emotional center of the brain, and hippocampus, which is the memory center of the brain, work together in tandem to lock in emotionally significant experiences. Cartoons often accompany key formative moments like waking up early on weekends to catch your favorite cartoon, bonding with siblings over your favorite show, or just learning life lessons. And all of these experiences really help to deeply embed these cartoons into our emotional memory. In addition to this, cartoons allow for imaginative and impossible situations, letting us as children safely explore emotions and ideas. I remember as a kid, I'd make my own entire magazines about a bunch of random stuff. Some pages would contain ads for made-up games, illustrations of cartoons I saw on TV, random rad inventions inspired by stuff like the mustard gun from The Kids Next Door, drawings of sports car-themed beds that I'd see in cartoons, random-ass fun stuff. Heck, I'd even make my own Bakugan before my mom eventually bought me some real ones. And by make my own Bakugan, I really mean soak pages of my school notebooks in water and roll them up into balls before allowing them to dry and storing them in a tin can and pretending that they were my tiny white Bakugan. I have issues, I know. But my issues aside, the point I'm trying to drive home here is, kids are super imaginative by instinct. It's all natural. And cartoons fuel this imagination by not obeying the laws of real life. Of course kids are gonna love them. Kids being super imaginative isn't just some random coincidence either. The prefrontal cortex of the brain, which governs logic and impulse control, is still developing during youth and becomes more sophisticated over time. During that development, the brain is constantly pushing boundaries to formulate a sense of logic and causation. Hence this wild sense of imagination and desire to create and or test different scenarios. Stuff like empathy, morality, and problem solving in a controlled, consequence-free environment. Cartoons help with testing all of this. I grew up watching Cartoon Network. Well, kinda. See, where I grew up, Cartoon Network was exclusive to the more premium cable providers, so my earliest memories dating back to when I was around 4 were made at a time where I didn't have access to Cartoon Network. Yet. Heck, I didn't even know what Cartoon Network was at the time. And the first two channels I remember falling in love with as a kid were a channel called Baby TV.
Baby TV.
Oh, that butterfly. And Teletoon. And when I say Teletoon, no, I don't mean the Teletoon we have now in the West. What I mean is the French Teletoon, or was it French Canadian? I don't know. The one that was localized and aired in places like France, the Middle East, Africa, and God knows where else. Baby TV was just baby stuff that I don't really remember, but Teletoon, then Kidsco, and eventually Nickelodeon were the channels that I lived on until I eventually got the more expensive premium cable provider with Cartoon Network around when I was 8 years old. And I remember the very first thing that I ever saw when I tuned into Cartoon Network, the Powerpuff Girls. My god, I was intrigued by this channel. I had already watched season 1 of Ben 10 Alien Force because I had that on DVD. But anything else Cartoon Network related was new to me at this point. In this channel, all these characters, they saved my life. A couple of years ago, I was at the absolute worst place I had ever been. mentally, physically, socially, financially, pretty much in any way you can think of. In any measure of life, my life was failing. I don't want to go into too much detail on specifics because it is still a touchy subject for me. But what I can say is that, weirdly enough, one trivial little thing kept me barely going. And no, it wasn't friends or family. Weird as it may sound, it was my nostalgia for Cartoon Network. And I know this sounds stupid, but let me explain, alright? Nostalgia is what really makes Cartoon Network cartoons special for me. Around the time that I got introduced to Cartoon Network, I was alone a lot of the time at home. And then these characters in these cartoons became my friends at the time. They would keep me company, so the nostalgia that I had for Cartoon Network is really special, even though I watch other cartoons and other channels before this point in my life. Returning to cartoons from your childhood can trigger nostalgia, a powerful emotion that activates the reward system of the brain. Watching these familiar characters or hearing theme songs associated with these cartoons that helped you grow up, helped you through tough or lonely times in my case, releases dopamine, the feel-good neurotransmitter. This in turn then reinforces repeated viewing and emotional attachment. It's why adults often revisit old cartoons and still find them comforting. As I previously explained earlier on in this video, the effect cartoons can have on the young human brain are intense, just because these are the formative years of the brain, and cartoons allow space for imagination to grow wild, imagination to test the limits of reality, and literally help us in learning more about what's possible and what's not possible in our world. I don't know if there's something wrong with my brain in particular, but these feelings of nostalgia that I have seem to be stronger than the average person's. And for me, a lot of this nostalgia comes from cartoons. It's hard to explain. But when I go back to watch these old cartoons like Bakugan, Ben 10, Regular Show, Adventure Time, I mean, goddamn, there's so many of them. The feelings of warmth and calmness that I get, nothing else gives me the same kind of feelings. They remind me of when times were simpler. Mentally, I associate Cartoon Network cartoons with happiness. Coming back from school to watch a new episode of my favorite shows like Batman the Brave and the Bold, Elliot Kid, fuck even Angelo Ruse, Gumball, I loved it all. Steven Universe. I loved Cartoon Network so much, I still do, because these shows instilled so many morals into me. Growing up, they taught me the importance of working hard, friends, always try to look for ways to make money or become financially stable with something as silly as Ed, Edd n Eddy. The simplest things in cartoons translated into life lessons for me. The importance of teamwork and cooperation with shows like Batman the Brave and the Bold. The importance of standing up and taking responsibility, even at a young age, with shows like Ben 10. Cartoon Network is like a homeschool teacher that I have always had with me. Even just learning random facts about space or science. For example, like the Andromeda Galaxy from Ben 10. I didn't even know that was a real thing at first. Or learning about different countries and cultures through shows like Mucha Lucha. Or Robot Boy in the case of Japanese culture. It's like all these little bits of information, my heart and mind held on to them over the years, and that's why I think these seemingly insignificant kiddie cartoons pretty much saved my life. I remember when I was at rock bottom, I wasn't really talking to anyone. I wasn't really doing anything all day with my life. A lot of times I would scroll through Twitter for hours, and when I came across a post about a Cartoon Network cartoon, in that instance, my mood would brighten up for a few minutes, and after I left the video or clip I was watching, I'd go back to being sad and miserable again. It wasn't until one day when I saw a clip from Camp Lazlo online that I decided I would go back to rewatch one show that I hadn't watched in a long time from Cartoon Network. And the show that I decided to rewatch was Ben 10 Alien Force, which for me is one of the best things Cartoon Network has ever aired. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating, but the 3 weeks it took me to watch Ben 10 Alien Force again, my entire world took a 360. I don't know, I can't quite explain it, but just watching that show again made me feel more enthusiastic about everything. My dopamine levels were generally higher day to day, my mood went up, and I started talking and associating with people more just because I was in a better mood to do pretty much anything. And it's all because of that power of nostalgia. For me, nostalgia is closely associated with feelings of positivity, feelings of safeness, feelings of comfort, and not only that, it's a great ass show. I mean, It's Ben 10 Alien Force. But in its own way, watching that show reminded me that there are still nice things in the world. You know, no matter how trivial, no matter how little, certain things can make you appreciate life. If something makes you feel better, it makes you feel happy, don't try to belittle it. And that's one of the most important things in life. To keep on living, to keep on enjoying things, enjoying being alive. There are people out there with so much money who aren't happy. And I'm not saying money's not important or anything, but it's like, it just goes to show how you can derive joy, happiness, or even purpose from the most seemingly mundane things in life. Watching a show and having it basically repair my mental health reminded me that I still had things to fight for. I mean, I'm not gonna act like I was on the verge of offing myself. I wasn't thinking about that, but it just made me think that there's so much in this life to experience and enjoy, and I should always keep my head up and appreciate the things that I have or the things that I have experienced. In all honesty, before rewatching that show, I felt worthless. I felt like I didn't have much going for me at all. And I didn't even know if I wanted to try my hand at anything again. But just getting that glimpse of happiness and comfort made me realize that I should go out and fight for more things in my life. I could strive to have more relationships with people, good relationships with people. I could strive to have a better job. I could strive to find things that give me a goal, a feeling of fulfillment in life. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, thinking about how Cartoon Network and all these characters helped me get out of that really dark hole in my life just really made me want to share the experience and talk about it to a certain degree. I mean, if even one person can watch it and take some advice from this, I think that's a win. At the end of the day, I want to say cartoons are important. Please don't underestimate the importance of cartoons. Hobbies are important. If there's anything in life that gives you any amount of joy, no matter how little, no matter how trivial, whether it's a video game, a cartoon, a song, a hobby, whether you like collecting rocks, whatever makes you happy, please don't ever let anyone belittle it. And don't ever let anyone talk you down or talk you away from it. Don't let society ever tell you what to like and what to not like, what to do and what to not do. As long as it makes you happy, do it. I'm not ashamed to say that I love cartoons. I love Cartoon Network, and these cartoons saved my life. So, if you watch this video all the way to the end, thank you for watching. Maybe like, comment any thoughts you have, share the video, subscribe, and tune into my next video where I talk about my next lesson. Have a great day.